What's up, everyone, and welcome to TVCaptive.com presents the SC9TV podcast for the originals, Season 1, Episode 20, A Closer Walk with Thee. This week, the quarter throws a party in honor of Father Kieran. I've never been to a funeral party. Sounds kind of cool. Maybe I'll have to throw one for myself. Mikael is haunting Klaus and Elijah in their dreams. Or is he? And Cammy has control of a supernatural weapon. But first, I am your host, Dom, and with me is my co-host, Omikins.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
Good. So, what'd you think of this episode?
It was actually really good.
Yeah?
I almost teared up, but, funerals and things.
Was it a sad funeral?
It was at first.
That was
and
a
then
dream.
No. Just the part with Klaus was a dream. When Marcel walked up and Cammy and Genevieve, they were all there, and that was real time. And then later they had the party. So it wasn't so sad anymore.
I thought the whole church scene was a dream.
No.
Okay. I don't know, because it was like, they're there, and then all of a sudden Klaus wakes up, and then they're having the party in the next scene, so I had assumed that he dreamt of going to the funeral, and then, because they're not going to hold the party the next day, they would hold it the same day, so why would Klaus go to sleep between the funeral and the party? So, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm so confused.
I don't know, maybe it was just the way that it was projected at everyone. Like, I think the part where Klaus walked in and he was in the church was, his dream. So I don't think he actually attended the church part of the funeral at all. But the stuff that happened before it with them, open casket walking by and everything and, teary eyes and giving their respects, that was real.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's real and what's fake anymore. They're blurring my sense of reality.
They really are.
I don't know. We learned a lot this episode about Marcel's past with Klaus.
Mm-hmm.
And how he was actually turned into a vampire. A little bit of information we were kind of lacking before. I don't know. It's kind of foreshadowing this family is not necessarily the strongest family bond. Like family blood. That close friends are almost better family than your actual family.
That blood isn't always family, even though...
No, it is.
Yeah. No. It is, but, family in a different description as far as they're going anyways.
Yeah. So, I don't know, do you think Klaus and Marcel can patch things up, or...
Yes, Klaus is getting soft. Not soft. He's maturing and he's becoming more logical and less reckless and irrational about his actions.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Klaus is getting soft. I think he is.
No, I mean, soft as in
He's got a baby on the way. He's getting soft.
It's not really soft. He's really...
He has the softest hands.
No. He probably does not.
Huh.
But, I mean, it's really hard to put soft as a label on somebody like Klaus. Because I think he's really just trying to set up, defenses. And protect. Rather than actually, go for the throat, which is what he usually does.
Yeah. I don't know. I can see that. But, as you called last week... Look at that smile already forming on her face. See? The other side is, in fact, falling apart, carrying over from the Vampire Diaries into the originals. Now, this is the first time a major event from the Vampire Diaries has affected the plot of the originals. What are your thoughts on the other show dictating the rules and stuff of this show now?
Well, that is the same universe. So even if, it wasn't New Orleans, they say they were somewhere in Australia or something, it would still mean the same thing. I mean, their father is supernatural. The supernatural veil is breaking, so he's obviously going to get through no matter where he is.
I don't know. I feel like that if you don't watch one show, like if you only had time to watch one, like me personally, I'm getting a little sick of the Vampire Diaries right now. I think you have expressed some disinterest in it as well.
Yeah.
But if I was to have stopped if we weren't doing these podcasts, we were actually just talking about this in pre-show. If we were not doing these podcasts, I probably would have stopped watching the Vampire Diaries, taking a little break about 5 episodes ago.
Yeah.
I would still have been watching the originals though. And
it is kind of a spoiler without being a spoiler.
Yeah, I mean, like, so if I was not watching the originals and then this came on, I'd be like,
well, they're talking about...
no, what the hell's going on over there? I'd be so mad. Like,
yeah, it is connected way more than it should be, because it seems like because of this episode, you should be watching them back to back, week to week, just to know what's going on, to catch the references and the connections. Because otherwise, it'd just be like, oh, he called Bonnie and this is happening? Okay. Well, it doesn't seem that it doesn't seem like that significant, other than Mikael being able to torture the boys.
The other thing, though, was this show when it had aired, right? If you've been watching it as it airs, you've been fine. But I feel bad now for the people that go back and watch this on DVD, even if they have the intention of watching episode 1 of, like, the originals and then episode 1 of the Vampire Diaries and alternating, because that is in fact not how the TV show did it. For up until this break that they just came back from, I believe it was the originals aired 1 extra episode over the Vampire Diaries for the longest time. So we would have been on like episode 13 of the originals and we were only on episode 12 of the Vampire Diaries or something like that. And it wasn't now until this week where they're both on episode 20 and 20. Well, not necessarily this week, but since they came back. So I think episode 17 or 18 or something.
Yeah.
16. I don't know. So, the timing is way off. So if you were to watch 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, you'd still be thrown off a little bit, and there's spoilers in there. So I don't know. Like, if you watched it when it aired, you're fine. But I don't know. I feel bad for the people going back to watch it now.
Yeah, because it really does seem like you have to watch one show to get the other, vice versa. Now, I mean, I did mention that there was no reference to this happening in the Vampire Diaries, but for the people who are really liking the originals, it does seem like they have to go back and watch the Vampire Diaries to even catch what's going on, to get the chaos and that's happening, that it's all breaking down, it's coming.
Yeah, I mean, they explained it in a way that you don't have to do it to understand it. You can get on with whatever, but to fully understand it, you do have to go back and watch the other one.
Exactly.
I mean, they do a good job of getting by, but at the same time, when I'm involved in a show like this, I want to know as much as I can. So, I don't know. I see it being really frustrating. That's why when you brought this up last week, I was like, there's no way they're going to do that, because it links the shows way too closely and kind of makes it to the point where you have to watch both. And up until this point, they haven't done that. They've been doing a really good job at keeping them separate in the same universe. And I was like, there's no way. That's not going to happen. You were right. I was wrong. Don't get used to it. So, Klaus has basically dictated that Hayley will be moving back in with the originals.
Yeah.
Do you think that was a good idea?
That he dictated it?
Or just Hayley moving in general.
Well, he's been kind of like pushing for it for a while, but since the bombing on Hayley's camp out in the bayou, he's like, no, you're moving in with us, no matter what. You're doing it. Like, it's happening. And we find out by the end of the episode, Hayley's like, yeah, I'm coming back. There's too much shit going on out there. It's way more protected here. So, I mean, now that he's put his foot down and saying it's going to happen, considering she could have got blown into pieces, that includes his baby, it makes sense.
Yeah. Then you have Elijah sneaking like a kiss with Hayley. right after Klaus just got through saying how he wanted Hayley to be around, to raise the child, be the child's mother, and that he wanted her to be there. He never expressed that he wanted her to be there romantically or anything like that.
No.
But at the same time, that seems like a bit of a slap in the face to Klaus.
No, Klaus wasn't there to see it. But I mean, that
doesn't make it right.
I know. Well, I mean, Hayley and Elijah have been hanging off each other's lips for like the whole season, so it was gonna happen. And I mean, recently I've seen a lot of like first kisses and shows, and I'm like, oh god, that really didn't need to happen. And this is one of those instances where I was like, that was so not done right. It just seemed like they were forcing each other and like rigidly, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It was awkward.
Awkward did not describe how awkward that was.
Okay.
What did you think of the nursery that Klaus had set up?
I thought that was adorable. Like, soon as he opened the door and her eyes lit up, and I was like, he did that. Oh, wow. Klaus is actually soft. He's not getting soft. He's growing up and he's maturing.
Growing up, he's like over a decade old.
It doesn't mean, like, he's been tortured by
a century.
Centuries.
I meant to say like 10 centuries. How many of that is there? Decentury?
No. Millennia?
That would be that. That's a million. Yeah.
No. Is
millennia?
it?
Yeah, millennia is a million, isn't it? No.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's,
I don't know things.
I'm going to use you as an example.
You're going to use me as an example?
Yeah.
Okay, go for it.
There are things that happen that only children would do. And it's, it's not the same as Klaus, but on the same level. I mean, you do pranks, whatever. Kids do pranks. But Klaus is kind of like on this emotional level where he's much more immature than a lot of the other cast members because of all the emotional trauma and things that he's had to live through all his life. So now he's actually feeling like he has something to hold on to. And, his brother's really working with him to be, redeem him. And he just feels like he just has to buck up and become a man in sorts.
Grow those antlers. Buck up.
Buck up.
What do you mean pranks? What kind of pranks do I pull?
Looking shifty-eyed does not help your side. No. I don't even have to explain this because people who know you know what I'm talking about.
Go Gadget roller skates.
Exactly. That poor waitress.
Do we have to explain that now, or do we just keep it as an inside joke?
It'll get explained someday.
Yes. If you want to know the answer, tweet us. We'll answer it for you.
Yeah.
Francesca. I actually learned her name this time. The leader of the human faction. George. And no, Francesca. And I can never not I can never not remember this name now. Like, it's embedded. I got it. I'm not gonna forget it because my cat Chelsea, her original name when we adopted her was Francesca.
Oh, okay. So you have some sort of tie to remember. Got it.
So I'll just think Chelsea, and so now so Chelsea's looking for the key that Cammy has. Do you think she has any idea what exactly the key is used for?
Oh, of course. Of course she knows.
So what is this, like, public knowledge to all the humans?
No, I mean, she took over as faction leader. So whatever, I mean, there are faction leaders within the faction. but because her father, or is it her uncle, was involved in the, the council, the faction council somehow, she knows about it because she also runs all this other shit. It's like, I can't talk. Anyways, but yeah. She just happens to know because she's had important ties to the back.
Yeah, I don't know. She seemed like she came out of nowhere, but she seems like she's in her own position of power, and she has been even before she was faction council, whatever. I don't know, but then Hayley goes and accuses her later of starting the werewolf attack, and she said, if I wanted to pick a target, it would have been you, and I wouldn't have missed. And I had actually wrote in the show notes for you guys last week, which you were discussing, whether or not it was Oliver. It seemed like it was pointing to Oliver, but then, I thought it was pretty clear cut and dry that it was him, but I guess it's not so much anymore, especially after some points you brought up. But, I don't know, Mr. Twist, Oliver Twist over there, I feel like it wasn't the humans that did it. Even though you could say, why would they kamikaze one of their own members? They could, but it didn't even seem like the guy knew he was going to explode, so it doesn't have to be a compelled vampire. It could have been just, hey, drive down here and talk to their leader, not knowing the gas can is going to explode. And
that's true.
So it almost seemed like Oliver had a part in setting it up just because of he had nothing to lose and everything to gain from that. And then, because everybody's blaming it, it puts the entire quarter in a frenzy. It gets the werewolves blaming the humans, blaming the vampires, blaming the witches. It gets the witches suspecting that the vampires are doing it. It gets the vampires thinking the witches hexed them. Like, it just makes the most sense that it's Oliver Twist to me. That's his name forever. It's Oliver Twist. I don't care what his actual last name is.
I don't know. I think it's too organized, and it just involved logically for Oliver to do most of, think of this.
Did you just call Oliver a sack of bricks?
Yeah, he's dumb.
Wow, just blatantly throw that out there.
He's not a very intelligent person.
Oliver, if you're out there, you're watching this podcast, Omikins wants to do an interview with you because she says you're dumb as bricks.
I don't know, he has a lot of the brute force, and he's not exactly a good thinker. A typical, jock, as someone put it. Although then I'm gonna get hate mail from jocks being like, I have a 4.0 GPA, and I'm like, I don't fucking care, you're still a jock.
Yeah. So Cammy ends up finding the box. Inside it, the box is completely empty, other than on the lid there was a cipher that only her brother, and obviously Kieran could understand. Possibly Francesca. We don't know if she could understand it or not. We don't know if it's like some kind of cipher that the human faction knows, but we know Cammy for sure knows it. What exactly was it? Do you think it was like a spell, or or more coordinates, location? Because it's obviously not a weapon in itself. Like, we were told it was a supernatural weapon.
Well, the box was empty, correct?
The box was empty.
I think it was empty for a reason, because I think Kieran did it when her brother went all psycho, knowing that the witches had done it. Him himself knowing, even though he says he didn't know. Or he knew something was up, so or maybe when he started going crazy, her brother decided to do it. But yeah, I think it's coordinates, some sort of message to say, go here to this place, and then there'll be another clue, and then another clue, and then it just leads on like a freaking scavenger hunt.
It's a puzzle trail. I love puzzle trails. Yeah. Then we get your favorite character, Monique. I know she's your all-time favorite on the show.
I hate her.
If Monique was to die off next episode, I'm pretty sure you'd stop watching the show.
No. I would totally keep watching, because, she came back once, she can come back again.
This is true. So she decides, she gets in her head that she's going to kill off Hayley because that's what the witches want. They want to kill the baby inside. Genevieve comes to the rescue
Thank
and
God.
saves both Hayley and the baby.
Mm-hmm.
So does Genevieve have her own agenda against the witches? Or, because we saw her, she was crying tears of blood when she begged the witches not to let her kill the baby. But is there some other reason that she doesn't want to, other than feeling that she's like a child murderer?
I don't know if it was a bullshit reason, but she told Monique, the baby has to be born before we kill it. The baby is part witch. Part of the most powerful witch we have ever known. And we want her power, her remains, to be consecrated so that our coven can absorb the power. So, I mean, I don't know if that was, like I said, I don't know if that's a bullshit reason she gave to Monique or if it's actually true. Because, I mean, it does make sense. She is from the baby is from Esther's line. So this baby's more than just werewolf and vampire. She has a bit of witch in her.
I'm just curious how much vampire is going to carry over.
I mean, it's really hard to say because Klaus was born a werewolf. He just didn't have the curse triggered until later on. So there's got to be more werewolf in the baby than vampire. It just seemed like I'm doing numbers and it just works out that way.
What if the baby's birth kills Hayley?
Oh, that'd be horrible. Once a month little...
Would that trigger the werewolf curse?
Well, I mean, Tyler accidentally tripped a girl down, like accidentally happened to be involved in some girl tripping down the stairs and killing her, and it killed her. It was accident, and it triggered the werewolf curse. So a baby coming out of a womb is an accident. Killing the mother, that would trigger it.
R.I.P. Hayley?
I hope not. Hayley's getting really badass, and I'm actually starting to like her character.
Yeah, I know we hated her on the Vampire Diaries last season. So
yeah.
It's amazing what they can do with a character after some time.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think there's going to be a point when you could actually enjoy Monique?
No, she's gonna die soon. She's gotta. Either that or she's gonna, like, some sort of hex and she's gonna, like, completely just opposite personality and be a giddy little hippie in the forest.
Yeah. Then we have Davina trying to do a seance to contact her lover. I forget his name. Does he have a name?
Timothy,
that's it. And the first time she ends up getting Mikael. Klaus's father.
his papa.
Yeah. Then she falls for it again. How dumb is this girl?
I don't know. I really don't know. Because, I mean, she's heard stories about Mikael. I mean, Marcel has told her stories. Klaus has told her stories. Elijah's told her stories. And I'm pretty sure she's heard stories from other sources, of course. So, I mean, she knows that Mikael is a force that is very, 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 very crazy. And he will cause chaos.
3 more varies to that.
Okay, well, you know what? He's an asshole, and you don't want to mess with that guy. He's just gonna backstab you. He doesn't care. As long as his kids die, if you're in the way, he don't care. He's gonna get you too. And yeah. I think that's what's gonna happen with Davina. She's gonna get hurt really bad.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
This marks the first time now that we've seen Mikael in present day. We've had him in flashbacks before, but now we have him present day, so this is starting to get really good again. I was so upset when they killed him off in Vampire Diaries, and the fact that they're able to pull him back some way, shape, or form is actually amazing.
Which, you know, is weird, because even when the veil was down in the Vampire Diaries, you didn't see Mikael. But you see him now when the veil is being messed with, when the other side is, shifty. He could have, And he could have came out of the veil and killed people when that happened. He had the power.
He could have.
Right now, he's just kind of manipulating shit.
Yeah, so he wants Davina to bring him back to life, to pull him out from the other side, bring him back into physical form. Do you
Which
think
has
she's
happened
gonna?
before.
Huh?
Which has happened just recently.
It has.
Marcos.
So, do you think she's gonna be able to pull this off? I mean, she's not as powerful as she once was.
I don't know. Because the way that Mikael was talking to Hayley when she was in that little, dead zone, was that, he thinks that the baby is a complete abomination. And so, other than killing his son, I mean, I think he was just saying that to Hayley to get her to, break down or something. Or just, stay in that state long enough for her to die. I don't know if he's actually going to go through with it and kill the baby. I know he wants to kill Klaus. He's like, my children, so he's talking about Rebecca, Elijah, and Cole, and...
Cole's dead.
Yeah, I know. But, he says my children.
Cole was reincarnated, and he is now a shapeshifter.
That. Okay.
Nathaniel Bozak? Is that? I don't even know what his is it?
Batak?
Is it? No, it's like Buzak or something. I don't know his last name offhand. It begins with a B. He's now going to be starring in Supernatural. He was on this past week. So if you've not seen it, you have any interest in the actor that played Cole, he will be It was the backdoor pilot for their spinoff series called Supernatural Bloodlines, and he plays a shapeshifter over there. And I think he was the best character on that episode.
He really was. He was an interesting character.
He was. So make sure to check him out over there. Another CW show.
But when he was talking to Hayley, he said Klaus, and then my children, meaning Klaus was he was the start of all the problems that his children had. So I don't know if he would go off. If he got reincarnated, he would kill Klaus and kill Elijah. I think he's actually moved past that point. Because he's had time to, overwatch as, Klaus has done more dickish things since he's... Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but he also wants the baby dead.
He does. He doesn't like the idea of the baby.
Why? What has the baby ever done to him?
Well, for one thing, Klaus made him. He hates Klaus. And he has werewolf blood, and Esther got happy with a werewolf.
Happy?
Yeah, got happy. And that's how Klaus was born.
If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands.
I'm not clapping.
Yeah, no, I could see him wanting to eradicate all the werewolves. But
Yeah.
I see that as a priority over his other children.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he has any interest in killing, Elijah and Rebecca. The other ones who are left. I don't think he has
not
any.
even here.
But
she doesn't have to worry about this.
No, he chased her down. If he wanted to kill her, he chased her down.
But she left. She's in Australia now.
Can Michael walk on water?
He's not Jesus.
If he goes back to life.
So, next week... Next week on the originals, we have the battle for New Orleans. And blood is in the air. Klaus and Elijah enact a plan to collect the sacred stones needed by Genevieve in order to forever change the fates of Hayley and the werewolf community. So we're assuming these sacred stones are equivalent to, what is it, the lapis
Lazuli?
Yeah, that. So those are the daylight rings. So we're assuming there's sacred stones needed for the werewolves' moonlight ring. Do you think it's going to be the same stones, or is it going to be a separate set?
I think it's gonna be something different for sure. I mean, it is a different spell per se. I mean, daylight, moonlight makes sense, right?
It's going to be the moonstone.
Moonstone.
Remember the moonstone? Season 1 or 2?
2.
Or 3?
No, it wasn't that late.
2.
Had to be 2.
Yeah, it was before...
It was when Caroline was freshly changed, so yeah, the
Yeah, it
moonstone.
was before the originals, because Klaus wanted the moonstone, and he had Catherine look for it, and then we were introduced to Klaus at the very end of season 2.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know, maybe some kind of moonstone. Anyway, realizing that Klaus's plan will lead to the extermination of all the French Quarter vampires, Marcel rallies an army determined to take down the Mikealsons and regain control of the city. So, obviously, he's rallying up his vampires, so we're going to have a big battle. Finally, and hopefully, this storyline is coming to a head in this episode, because I am sick of the battle for the French Quarter. It's been in every goddamn episode since we started. And,
yeah.
I understand that that's the premise of the show, but it's getting stale.
Oh, like I said, the last few episodes, the last couple episodes of this season is Hayley being on the verge of birth or giving birth, and then
so
the aftermath after
the
that.
battle for the French Quarter, it's still involved, but it's very subtly in the background, and that's why these last 2 episodes have been really good. But all the other ones that have been forefront, like, let's rally an army, let's do this, let's do that, we need the French Quarter. I'm sick of it. Just shut up and go, like, have a martini. Anyway, Davina warns Josh to leave town as she is forced to make a fateful decision that will turn the tide of war. So, that's going to be
bring Mikael back. Bring in Mikael back so we can kill all the vampires.
Yes. Meanwhile, Francesca threatens Camille, aka Cammy, who attempts to decipher a code that results in a surprising revelation amongst the city's factions. So all this is going on, right? And you take the humans, who are the weakest of the factions, and I have a feeling that they are very quickly going to become the strongest faction.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't like Francesca being the head of that. She seems pretty shady.
Yeah,
I mean, something about what Hayley said is she owes like $4 million to a casino or something.
No, she didn't. It was the guy that was on the bike owed that money to the casino, and she absolved the debt.
Oh.
So that's why it seemed like she was involved in the motorcyclist incident.
Mm.
That was what that was setting up. Whether or not she is another story. I don't know. I like her because she is shifty. And you want that kind of in a leader role to add some kind of drama and tension to it. Like Father Kieran, he was good for different reasons, but I think Francesca is better suited for that role. Father Kieran was only good because he was willing to stand up to the originals or the vampires or whatever, and that kind of made him badass, but you see how that turned out for him in the end. So,
well, that was not the vampires' fault, it was the witches.
True. But still. Do you have anything else for us this week?
No, it was, we covered everything and said some things that we probably shouldn't have said.
Like what?
Some things that we probably shouldn't have said that I shouldn't repeat.
I'm confused.
Jesus Christ.
Yes?
Okay. Cut.
Where can the people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
You can find me down below at Phenomenon, Phenomedom. You could also find us on tvcaptive.com as well as /ASOTV podcast on Facebook, YouTube, Gmail, G+, Twitter. I think that's it. I was waiting for you to finish chugging your red Solo cup. About to see how far you'd go. So, till next week. See you guys later.
Bye.
I don't remember what we said that we shouldn't have said.
It was mostly just me. Something about somebody coming back to life and walking on water and such.
Oh.
Yeah. But, you know,
Jesus.
Easter and stuff. Good turkey.
Jesus.
Jesus. Hey, Zeus.
Yahweh?
Yahweh?
My way, or the highway.